Phantom limb syndrome, coined by Silas Weir Mitchell, is a phenomenon that commonly occurs after amputation. The amputee may experience feelings of acute pain or simply feel that the limb is still there, although they are consciously aware of its removal. Studies by people such as Walter Penfield, V.S. Ramachandran, and W. Hairston have confirmed the validity of the syndrome and have shown how it is possible. One of the most infamous cases of phantom limb syndrome is the one of a Civil War surgeon by the name George Dedlow. Over the course of 2 encounters with Confederate soldiers, he had to have several amputations. After the amputation of his legs, he awoke to a curious itching sensation on the legs that he thought were still there. His last remaining limb, an arm, was compromised by gangrene. After everything he had been through, he was nothing but a torso. While housed at the aptly named Stump Hospital, he, along with other soldiers, continued to feel sensations in their missing limbs. They even felt pain in specific fingers of the hands they no longer had. The case takes a strange turn when Dedlow goes to a seance. His legs are summoned during it, and he temporarily regains the ability to walk. Although the limbs are not there, he can feel them, and they appear to be very real. This account is entirely fictional. However, it represents a time when people were becoming amputees at an alarming rate due to the Civil War. Silas Weir Mitchell, a famed neuroscientist, wrote this story in the magazine The Atlantic, and many people at the time thought that the story was true. Mitchell was working with limbless people every day and drew attention to the idea of phantom limbs. The impressive details in the story show the groundbreaking research Mitchell had conducted. His theories would become a foundation for the subject. Successor to Mitchell, Penfield spent most of his professional life in Montreal, Canada, where he opened up a renowned neurological institute in 1934. There are many different elements to his work, but one of his primary goals was to find the location of consciousness in the brain. In doing this, he determined the locations of the homunculus and other brain areas by probing people's brains with electricity and seeing the outcome. While probing people's brains, he also discovered new information regarding epilepsy. He attempted to find the seat of consciousness while doing this, but never succeeded. This is Walter Penfield's homunculus. It lies in the somatosensory cortex of primates and contains a complete body map. Some areas are much more sensitive than others, so they take up more space in the cortex. Interestingly, people born without limbs have a body map similar to the one of people with limbs. Therefore, they can experience phantom sensations. This suggests that the body map of the somatosensory cortex is a hardwired feature of our brains. V.S. Ramachandran and several others found that when a person lost their arm and hand, they could feel the phantom arm when their face was touched. In one experiment, when water was trickled on the face of a subject, the hand felt warmth. This was similar with vibrations. This shows that the face area of the primary somatosensory cortex may have overtaken the area for the hand and arm, which was not receiving any feedback from the neurons in the peripheral nervous system. Now we will look at how touch sensation functions normally. These are all cutaneous receptors related to touch. 3 nerve endings, circled in the picture, are most sensitive to temperature change and pain, although all of them contribute in some manner. Imagine that your hand has brushed up against a cold table. In order for you to consciously be aware of this, the 3 nerve endings are activated. The pressure from the touch allows an influx of sodium ions into the cell, which allows the cell to pass the firing threshold. There is an action potential and the message is sent across the synapse to a ganglion cell. The message then travels to the central nervous system. As shown by this picture, the message goes through the receptors through an afferent neuron, which means it is going to the brain rather than away from it. The message travels to the spinal cord before it goes to the brain. The message could go to a variety of different places, including the somatosensory cortex and the thalamus. One form of therapy that has been proven to help with phantom pain and sensation is mirror box therapy. With this, a person places their actual hand or leg in one side of the apparatus. They then place their phantom hand or leg in the other side. With the mirror, they appear to have 2 limbs. They are then told to move both of them in the same way. The brain will receive visual feedback that the hand or leg is still there, and the neurons in the area of the limb in the somatosensory cortex are activated.